Hi everybody. So I said today I'd make a video and the video is going to be on where I was, where I am now, and where I'm going. Um, I'd been putting off this video I think for a little bit just because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to talk about in the ways of what I want this channel to be about. And I'm still kind of foggy on that, but I figured if I just thought about it forever, I would never make this video. So um, I'm just making the video. Also, this video is gonna look pretty rough in terms of Instagram and YouTube standards. But again, if I just didn't make it, I would if I tried to make it perfect, I wouldn't make it. I do really enjoy editing, and I had a Instagram and YouTube podcast thing before to do with sobriety, strictly only. And I did make the videos a little nicer and I really took time and I actually enjoy doing that stuff. And I do hope eventually I can make those videos like that. But right now, because I'm sort of at the beginning and I didn't want to put any pressure on myself, I'm doing these videos just sort of like freestyle, I guess. And more that I've been thinking about it, I think this idea of me getting myself healthier and in shape and showing my progression is sort of like a continuation of what I was doing before. The reason I quit doing what I was doing before was a sobriety thing, was because I didn't like the idea that I was just focusing on sobriety, and it was actually the parts after sobriety that I really enjoyed, which is basically what I'm doing now, like the getting in shape and being healthy and improving your mindsets and stuff. So kind of thinking of it as like a continuation. So I'm gonna start with where I was. So where I was just a few years ago, I'm not gonna go back all the way when I was a teenager, but basically a few years ago, I was in a pretty low part of my life. I was struggling with addiction very heavily. My whole life had sort of been chasing a dopamine high, and my late teens and my college years and then my 20s was me just partying most of the time. I worked minimum wage jobs or worked in the hospitality industry, which did not help. Obviously, in the hospitality industry, drugs and alcohol run rampant, and it's very easy to just get off work and go and party with somebody, do a bunch of cocaine. um, and I went to school twice and I did most of the program, and towards the end dropped out, just realized it wasn't for me. But also I wasn't fully putting myself into it because I would have rather just hung out with people and gone out and had a nightlife and socialized. I am quite a social person, not as much anymore, but in the past I've been a very social person. But it got to around 2019 when I was really struggling. At that point, I had hit my 30s, and most of my friends were in relationships or I moved on, moved to another city, bought homes. Again, have been in long-term, not just new relationships, but some of them have been in long-term relationships, like 7+ years, and they were slowing down. And I was finding myself not slowing down. I was still going out and partying a lot, but instead, I was now at a point where I wasn't even really hanging out with my friends. I would still hang out with them in times, but because I was going out all the time, I would just go out by myself and see who I could find out. And if someone was doing drugs, that would be the person I'd be hanging out with that night. Or someone was drinking heavily, if there was an after party, like I was always there. So, or if there was, I did have a few friends that I knew I could always call because they were also partiers or like druggies, and like I would want to hang out with them the most because we could party together. And it eventually got to where I knew I had a problem, but I wasn't even like fully there or ready to quit yet. And actually, right here is where I'm going to show you guys a video. So I found a video of myself. I think it was 2019, and it was before I got sober. But at this point, I knew I had a problem, and I actually really needed help, but I just didn't know what to do. So it is a little, I don't want to say graphic, but it's a little like sad. But yeah, guys, here I'm going to show you this video, and here you go.
Okay, so my name is Calvin Somerville. I'm making this video because I'm constantly depressed at my life, but I never change it. I'm actually sitting here, look at this hair. This is like, I haven't showered in 4 days, basically. And I'm just lying in my house, constantly depressed, and this is how my fucking house looks. My bed, just junk all over. Oh, my couch. This is just my one room, though. This room, not even that bad. Nope. Okay, let's go. Oh, into the kitchen. There's my cat. I feel so bad for her because she used to live in this piece of shit. My bathroom. Like, what am I doing with my life? Garbage just sitting here. Like, fucking disgusting. Every dish I possibly could have. Fruit flies everywhere. Oh, yeah, fruit flies everywhere. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, what is gonna make me get this together? Like, I don't know. I need help.
So yeah, that's the video, guys. I wanted to show this video because honestly, when I watched it recently, it kind of made me proud, not from the video, but just how far I've grown even now. I originally have been saving that video for years because I wanted to do sort of like a video of like where I was and where I am, not today, but in relative of like my super dream goal life, where like back in the day when it used to be more superficial, when I was like, I wanted a super nice body and be like, have all this money and just like show how much I changed, you know? But when I watched this video back, like even just seeing how much I've changed now, I thought it was like great to sort of put it in this video and show people. And I'm definitely very far from where I was, but I'm not exactly where I'd like to be. Obviously, it's good to have goals and to keep progressing. But so back to where like I was in that position from the video, and then I finally had a night where I just like I went out and partied again with some friend of mine that was also into drugs, and we went to an after party, and I ended up taking this guy home who had drugs, who was like not attractive, and having like a hookup experience that I was just not proud of. And I finally just realized that like I did not want that life anymore. And that's when I decided to quit, get sober, and I sent my mom a letter and I told her all the drugs that I did, and I started that website that I was talking about earlier. And at that moment, honestly, that's when I thought that was my purpose, and I really felt like I had a strong message to share with people, especially because I was sober and I was feeling great at that moment when I started it and released it. I think I was 3 months in, and I actually really enjoyed doing it. I didn't always love talking about the content that I was talking about. I did talk about certain things about like how to treat somebody who's coming out, telling you that they're an addict, and those kind of videos. And I did a few podcast episodes as well. The content wasn't always the most fun for me, but honestly, the like sitting down and writing the scripts and putting together video ideas and keeping up with the Instagram account that I had for the account that I was doing, I really enjoyed that. And it was more during sobriety, the practices that I was doing after, like going to the gym and eating healthier and like treating myself better and reading more. Those were the parts that I really enjoyed. And I wanted to sort of switch that after doing the like website and stuff and YouTube channel for addiction. After doing that for a while, I realized that like, oh, I wanted to sort of shift into the other thing. So I tried doing that, but slowly that died because not only was I switching and then I felt sort of like unsure of myself, but I also was slowly relapsing. I made it 6 months sober, and then I had my first relapse. And then after that, I would relapse, and then I'd be good for a month, and then I'd relapse, and then I'd be good for a month. And I just, at first I thought it was not a good thing, but I was like, I'm gonna talk about this experience on my channel and on my podcast, and like I want to show people I'm a real person and this is what happens when you relapse. But after relapsing over and over and over again, I just felt like, who am I to talk about this topic anymore? Even though I wanted to shift into more of like a health-based, the things you do after sobriety, I was sort of ashamed. And so I stopped doing it altogether. I also let, unfortunately, the idea that like I didn't feel like I was getting enough views. I didn't feel like any of my friends watched it. None of my friends watched it. Like my best friends, I would say, "Oh, did you see my podcast episode?" They're like, "Oh no." And I let that get to me, and now I realized it wasn't for them. Because the sad part is I actually had a few people message me after saying, "Oh, are you still doing your podcast and stuff?" And I said, "Oh no." And they're like, "Oh, really? I used to love listening to all your episodes, and like it really resonated with me." And that was sort of unfortunately a part that broke my heart a little bit, but so I would say that's sort of my past. Sobriety up until now has been sort of a up and down battle, but now we've sort of reached the now portion of my life. So currently right now I am sober. I've been sober for 3 months. And oh my god, 3 months, I didn't realize it was that long. Yeah, it is 3 months. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, so and I'm feeling great. Always in the back of my mind, of course, there's a little bit of like, am I gonna relapse again? Because it's just been something that's happened to me over and over again. But I feel a lot more prepared this time than I have in the past. I read a few books that had different names. That's my cat, sorry. I read 2 books that I think helped put me in a better mindset. And they're Alan Carr's Easy Guide to Quit Cannabis and Easy Guide to Quit Alcohol. And cannabis actually was the thing I had the most issue with. Cocaine and stuff too. I didn't read any of those ones, but Alcohol seemed to be the one that led to it, although alcohol I wouldn't say necessarily was my big issue because I don't really love drinking. It was, I wouldn't really do Coke unless I was drinking. So I figured those two were the books to start with. And I really love those books because they sort of take away the illusion of why we drink, and it's given me more of a basis like, oh, all these things, reasons why I thought I needed this, I don't. And before with sobriety, it's like you always felt like you were missing out, but now I don't feel as much as I'm missing out. And if I do have a thought like that, I realize like that's not necessarily meaning that I'm weak still and I can't take it. It's just an old thought pattern, not necessarily. That's just an old thought pattern that I had for my whole life. And then I tell myself, oh, wait, but you know the truth. And I'm like, oh, right. And I feel good again, you know? So that combined with now I've been doing a lot of healthy practices. So I've been really commanding my mornings. Honestly, I love mornings so much. I go to bed at like 8 p.m. now, and I get up at between 4 and 5 a.m. and I do like a different amount of things every morning. I always read, I try to go to the gym, I do stretches, meditation. I like have one nice shower and do my face routine, and like it's sort of have like a pampering moment for myself each morning, and practice gratitude more, and those things have really helped me. So I'm in a great position now. I feel so much better about where I am, and I feel optimistic about the future, which before it's hard to feel optimistic when you're stuck in a loop of addiction. And that sort of leads to, I guess, where I want to go in the future. So the future is not the future is where I want to head is obviously treat myself better. When I was an addict, I did not take care of my body. I did not take care of my mental state. I've actually never taken care of my mental state even before I was an addict. My finances are not great. Like, there's so much aspect of health that I've just been ignoring my whole life. And I know holistic health is like a buzzword right now, but honestly, like, I do believe that there are so many aspects of health that you really need to like make sure are aligned for you to feel great about yourself. And if you look at them up online, they range from like 5 different points to like 8 or 10 different points. I think for me, there's about 7 that I really want to focus on. And I wrote down what I want to like particularly focus on in each of those groups. So I am just going to read it because it's just easier for me instead of like coming off with the top of my head. So the first one is physical. So my physical health, I want to feel like I have more energy. I want to feel sick less. I was a smoker for my whole life, and I was always coughing and just not feeling great. And like, I finally want to take back like my power in my health and like feel great. And like, I want to make sure that like, again, like I don't feel tired all the time. I don't feel sick. I want to have better like blood levels and cholesterol, and like my gut health. My stomach's always been an issue. I've never taken care of it, and I want those things to feel good. I'm not saying my cholesterol or anything's bad, but like I just want to make sure all those things are aligned and I feel great. I want to feel stronger. I want my body to be able to do things that I never thought I could do, you know? And that's what I love about the gym is like I can really challenge myself besides the mental aspect for me, that it really helps with my mental health. Like I want to feel stronger. I want to stretch more and feel more limber and like have less pain in my body with my muscles, with my joints. Like my neck and my back have been killing me all the time now as I get older. And like I really want to have like consistent, like I want to feel more consistently better in those areas as well. Um, Next, I would say is my emotional health. So people always say mental health, but I feel like mental health actually encompasses like two different areas, to be honest. So emotional health, I'm not really going to label it as mental health. I'm going to label it as emotional health, which I want to be able to regulate my feelings better. So I've always let like my anger or my sadness like take me over, and I've never really had control over my emotions. And if somebody said something, instantly I react, and I want to be able to not like react right away and be able to like understand and like sit with my emotions and not let them like control me. I also want to be able to deal with my past trauma. I have issues with my father in the past. I have issues with being bullied and just feeling inadequate, and I want to deal with those probably through shadow work and eventually therapy. I think therapy is very important. Um, I also want to deal with my negative self talk and my confidence. I haven't had any confidence in myself probably my whole life. And I think that's one of the reasons why I used addiction. I always thought like when I was high and like at Pride or whatever, I could say or do whatever I want to like the guys because I didn't have that filter of like, you shouldn't be doing this. And although sometimes it did make me more confident talking to a guy that I thought was cute, it also made me say things and do things that I would never say, you know? Like, and it got me in a lot of trouble with people. Like, people would think I was mean, or I would say a joke that was inappropriate and it would get me in trouble. Like, so I want to find like my true confidence without drugs and alcohol. And I want to get rid of that negative self talk in my head that I keep telling myself over and over again. The second part of mental health that like I think is intellectual health, though emotional and intellectual are both mental for me. Intellectual health is that I want to read more. Like I've really fallen in love with reading the last few years, and I particularly love reading books on like mindset shifts and mental health and spiritual health, that kind of thing. So I want to continue to do that. Want to continue to do that. I also want to study topics that like I've been wanting to learn for a long time. So I love witchcraft, and like I've wanted to study tarot and learn crystals. I wanted to study the magical properties of different herbs and like the physical properties of certain plants and herbs. Um, I've always wanted to learn sound healing. Honestly, when it comes to like sound healing or like the crystal bowls and Tibetan bowls or whatever, like that thing for me is so relaxing. And because I find it so therapeutic, like I would love to learn more about it, you know? Um, just things about the body, things about even nutrition part I'm pretty interested in. Like there are other things too, building and tiny homes and um, like climate change, like animals, um, like all those kind of things. Those are all things that I want to learn more about, and I want to take time to like really be able to like study and gain knowledge in those areas. Um, Sorry, you're gonna hear a lot. uh, yeah. Next is spiritual health. So my spiritual health, I want to learn about being present more. I want to also be like have more conscious living, which is has to also do with being present. So much I'm in my mind, and I want to enjoy the day to day things that go on, and I don't want to be in my head so much. I also want to learn more about witchcraft. Um, I've done some things, but like there's such a wide variety, and witchcraft for me is a visualization technique, and I want to implement visualization more into my life. I also want to learn how to be free from my ego. So every person has the ego inside of them, which is like the person that reacts to everything, has to identify with different things. Like I identify with being, I don't know, a liberal, or I identify with being a boy or a girl, or I identify with being a sales worker, or I identify with being a lawyer, or I identify with being a mother. Like those things are okay, but it's the ego is when you identify with them so much that they become your only identity. And like if somebody says like I don't like moms, you would get really defensive because you're a mom and you feel like it identifies like all of who you are. When you let go of the ego, you're able to deal with situations better. You're able to deal with people better. You're able to understand the world and appreciate like the small things. So those are also things that I really want to focus on in my spiritual journey. Next category is social. So for social health, I want to have better relationships with my friends and family. There's a few good people in my life, and I want to make sure that those people know I appreciate them and that I'm gonna stay in their life and that I want them to stay in my life. My family too. I don't spend as much time with my family or my mom. I want to see my sister and my niece and my nephew more, my older brother and my younger brother, my grandma who's getting older and she might not be around. Like I want to be around them more. I also want to be able to build better relationships with mentors and leaders. Like I want to be able to have people that I can turn to and learn from, build more networking relationships with them and other people. I also want to build or like join a community. Like during the pandemic, I was a part of a book club, and honestly, I felt at first like really connected to those people, and it was great. And I talked to them every day, and we read books and we discussed those books. I'm not a part of that book club anymore. It's still around, but it just, our book interests are a little bit different, and that's totally fine. But I want to find something like that again. I want to be a part of a community that is about self development. People who talk about health and talk about different books that they read in self development, or spiritual books, or talk about spirituality, talk about, again, emotional health, all these points I'm listing. Like I want to be a part of a group like that. I've tried to find some on Facebook. None of them really spoke to me. Maybe I'll have to build one myself. I don't know, but that's something on my list to do as well. Next is my financial health. So financial health is very important. I want to get myself out of debt. I've never treated my finances well at all. I want to be out of debt. That's my first goal. After that, I want to build a sort of rainy day fund. I want to have 3 months at least backup of if something happens, I lose my job or whatever, I have this backup money that I can rely on and not stress. That's a goal. Hopefully I can have my debt paid off and maybe have that money by the end of the year. And then after that, I want to start saving. Like I want a home, and I want to maybe invest some money into a future career. Like there are some dreams that require money, unfortunately, and I want to be able to do that. And whether that's like me learning how to invest or learning about different savings accounts. I also love the idea of like frugality. Um, I love like those coupon shows and stuff. I know that sounds silly, but like I want to find ways that like I can live off less. And like I went grocery shopping and it's super expensive, but like wouldn't it be cool if there's a way I could cut down on some of those groceries but still enjoy all the things that I like to enjoy? So that's things that I sort of want to touch on as well in financial. And then the last category is environmental. So environmental would be dealing with my home, the environment I surround myself with. So making sure my home is clean and it's looks nice and I enjoy being there, because if you're surrounded by filth and dirt, that's gonna clutter up your mind as well. I also want to make sure that the environment I'm surrounding myself on my like daily and weekend basis. Before, I used to go out clubbing and partying all the time, and that's fine. I still like dancing, and I even sober would love to be able to go with a friend and dance sober at an event. But before, it was like that's all the only places I was, where now I want to like be surrounded by more productive and conducive environments. I also think, lastly, the last point is that literally the physical environment, the planet, like I want to treat that in a way that respects it and is healthy, because when the air is clean and the ground is clean, like those are the things that we breathe and drink and eat, you know? So like my physical health, our physical health literally relies on the health of the planet. So finding ways to be more eco-friendly, waste-free, like those kind of things that I'm passionate about already, but like I want to continue doing that as well. I'm vegan. Vegans helped from my physical standpoint. When I was talking about like gut health, I've had stomach problems my whole life, but being vegan has already really helped that. But also helps with the environment, you know, like these are things that I am passionate about and that I also think can really help me. So I guess those are sort of all the areas I want to talk about. I know that's a lot, and I know sometimes when you do something like this, you should focus and narrow down, niche down, they say. Maybe I will niche down if I find that there's areas that I really enjoy talking about more than others, but right now, like, this is the whole area I'm sort of covering. This is what I want to do with my whole journey. Whether I talk about all these aspects on here, I'm unsure. But this is the part where it gets tricky, that I'm unsure where I want to go with this. I don't know, like, what kind of videos do I make? When I was doing my alcohol, my addiction thing, I sort of had like so many ideas for videos. But this time I don't really know what to talk about. Like, when it comes to physical things, like I don't want to take you to the gym or show you a meal I make, because I don't like doing those. Like, I like going to the gym, but I don't know that much. You know, I do things for myself, and like I don't like cooking, so like I don't understand. I like the idea again of talking about mind shifts. So maybe it will be more the idea of why I think going to the gym is important, how it makes me feel, maybe tips at least of like what gets me to the gym and what keeps me motivated there. Those things I can talk about. And maybe like ideas of like how I'm saving money and how I'm paying off my debt. I don't want to show too many physical aspects of things. Like I don't want to show you my progress of like me getting in shape, because although like it's a great maybe visual for you guys of me making progress, I don't think how my body looks is important, or how your body looks is important. As long as you're happy with your body, I think more if you're going and being consistent and being proud of yourself, doing it, and it makes you feel good, that's what's important about it. And to be honest, if you're going to the gym constantly and you feel good, your body is going to just follow anyways. So and I don't know, like talk about different environmental practices, maybe talk about like spiritual mind shifts, talk more about the ego, like I was saying, talk more about being conscious. Maybe talk about experience if I do therapy, my experiences with therapy or practices that I do or test out with shadow work. I don't know. These are ideas I'm exploring. So I actually would love it if you've made it this far in the video. Just realized it's 32 minutes, but if you guys are able to shoot me suggestions or like what you want to see, I would really, 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 really appreciate it. Yeah, and I guess that's really it. Again, thank you guys for listening. I know this probably isn't the most interesting video because it's just me sitting here and talking, but hopefully in the future I can spice up my videos a little bit more. After I pay off my debt, which hopefully is in a few months, like I would like to buy some software to edit videos in and get my Canva account back again. And I can make the videos a little bit nicer. I actually like doing that stuff. And eventually I'm gonna find my flow. I'm gonna have like a day I post specifically every month or every week. But yeah, please give me feedback. I would love feedback. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Have a good day.